got a question. Ask Tom on Home Show Radio.
This is Home Show Radio live on Facebook and YouTube. Your questions, Tom's answers. Now here's Tom Tynan and Charlie Mosier.
And here we go with Facebook, YouTube Live, right here on this Thursday. I guess we're turning clocks forward this weekend, I think. But don't quote me on that. But it's beginning of spring, kind of. Because we're springing forward here soon, and Charlie will help me out to make sure I'm right on my dates. If not, remember, you can always listen this weekend on Sports Radio 610, where I'll have the real scoop on that in case I'm wrong right now. Okay, that's on Sports Radio 610, 9 to noon on Saturday, and on Sunday, 8 to 11 on Sports Radio 610 in the Houston market, but you can also listen at our website, homeshowradio.com, and you can podcast it and do those things. And before my show on Saturday, you can listen to Mr. Danny Milliken, who is the host of the Garden Pros show, and he has many great guests, wonderful nurseries all over the Houston area to help many people right now, including me, renewing our yards and bringing them back from the terrible cold weather we experienced in the Texas area, if you're listening outside of Texas. And if you're in the Houston area, you know what I'm talking about, that cold week. Yes, it was miserable.
The recent unpleasantness, we like to say.
Oh, it was worse than that. The recent unpleasantness ends up hamburger that wasn't cooked all the way. You know, you order it well done and you get it rare. That's recently unpleasant.
Okay.
Not
all right.
40 below zero for a whole week. That's unpleasant. That's terrible.
It wasn't quite a whole week.
Really? It seemed like a whole month, but that's okay. We're very squeamish down here in the Texas area when it comes to cold weather. That's all I got to say.
I talked to our good friend Gary Gould over at TDT.
Good guy.
And he said that he thinks that every pier and beam house in the greater Houston area has burst pipes under it, the way calls are coming in. And I talked to the people at Abacus yesterday. They took 1,140 calls yesterday. And it's just, our advice to you is be patient. They're getting to you. There's what's happening. I mean, and I'm sure as you know, Tom, I mean, they're going out to address a burst pipe and jobs are turning into repipes. And so they're there all day. And so
the only way to know how many, you're right, is you turn it on. You think, I got the one pipe where it was burst fixed, where they told me it was broken, and it's obvious. And then another one shows up, then another one shows up. So it's not just cut dry, hey, we got one pipe, it'll cost $150, we're out of here. It's not working that way with many people in the Houston and surrounding areas, quite frankly, most of Texas.
It's a great way to kick off the home improvement season.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, exactly.
You might consider a full remodel after they replumb and call Trifection and go ahead and add a room while you're at it.
Right.
I mean, why not?
Well, we're gonna get a bunch. We have a bunch of questions that we teed up here from the Ask Tom section, Home Show Radio, and of course you are welcome to send yours in. We're live on Facebook and YouTube, and if you want, put them in the comment section below. And I don't have that window open here. I will open it up, and we'll take any of the questions you have that you want to put there. But we got some others here, and we have a very special guest with us today.
And you can tell him who that is, Charlie. I know who it is because it's not special to me. He's special, but I already know.
He's not special to you?
I said he is special to me, except you know who it is, so I wanted you to introduce him.
It's Tony Wood from Texwood Productions. Texwood Shows, right? Is that right?
I'm fragile, so I'm just say I'm special. I need that.
Okay.
You're special, Tony. You're always out there in the parking lot at 7 a.m. waiting for me, so I appreciate you very much.
Hey, we do what we have to do. Is that correct?
Charlie, he saves a parking spot for me every home show. Since I'm the first car there, I get to park right up front.
Generally.
You and Randy.
Exactly, you and Randy.
You got it.
Yeah, but Tony's he's the guy who puts on these shows we go to at and I guess this next week, next weekend, not this weekend, next weekend, after we've adjusted to our time change, whether it's this week or next. It's this weekend we're doing, isn't it? Tom and I
Yeah,
did.
pretty sure, but we'll confirm it Saturday morning on
It's
Sports
this,
Radio.
it's this weekend, yes. This weekend we spring forward. Tom is correct.
Tom and I did extensive show prep.
Yeah, we did.
So anyway, so next weekend, March 20th and 21st, Tony, is the Lake Houston Home and Garden. This is a brand new show for you, isn't it?
Yes, we were scheduled to do it last year for the first time, and guess what? That little thing called COVID hit, and we did not. We were postponed to this year. We're very excited about it. Our exhibitors are excited about it, and I think it's going to be a good one. Most people I know, we're used to wearing masks now. The Humboldt Civic Center will be mask, or we're going to recommend it, but it won't be forced upon you if you want to come to the show. That's at the Humboldt Civic Center next weekend, Lake Houston. So,
and
people
there's
are
bunches.
excited, are ready to get out.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be a fun thing. Yes.
You got a bunch of stuff. I was kind of looking down the list. I mean, for one thing, you're talking design and organization. You got a bunch of stuff in there.
Right. Well, people want to. I mean, they want to hear folks like Tom who have extensive knowledge, or garden guys like Danny. Especially as Tom said, most everybody's plants have been wrecked, or trees. And I mean, the landscape of Houston is pretty brown, light brown right now. Anyway, and of course, design, organization, those are things people especially need no matter what. And so we got speakers there. We've got exhibitors there as well. And, landscaping, outdoor living ideas, all those kind of things. If you want to eat some good food, we've got couple of good food trucks as well to kind of make it. It looks like it's going to be the extended forecast looks good as well. So
Yeah.
I think it's just could be a fun outing. Again, masks are recommended. We're not going to force people to do that. At least
No
the Humboldt
shaming.
Civic Center isn't where
There'll-
we're at.
There'll be
shaming. I
no
know.
mask shaming going on at the show.
No
Okay.
mass shaming, that's correct. And hey, we're all used to it. I mean, if you go to HEB or
Mm-hmm.
Kroger or whatever, those aisles are 5 or 6 foot wide, so everybody's used to wearing them anyway. So anyway, life goes on.
I was looking here. I see you got Danny is going to do talk about greener lawns. You're going to have that going on, and Tom is going to be there for one-on-one questions at our booth. And just so you know, when you come, we're going to have Tom in the booth, and you're going to talk to him over a microphone from a distance because we want to keep everybody healthy, just to be sure.
Absolutely.
And then
Makes
I
total
saw another thing on here on your list. It says new river cruise information. What's this all about? River cruises?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a lady that's in at our Kingwood show. She's Sharon Lewis. She's was the owner of Kingwood Travel for many years. Sold it, but I started thinking, what are people planning on right now? I mean, what have we not done? A lot of people have not done over the last year. Well, travel, and so if you want some travel tips, Sharon is the person. She's also going to talk about cruises, but in general, we'll have some travel tips if you want to travel now, with still some of the COVID restrictions going on, and some tips on planning for the future, because hey, this thing's about ready to blow up for travel people, probably in especially late fall, early next spring, and you're going to have to get your ducks in a row if you want to travel then. So Sharon can answer all those, an emphasis on the river travel, but also taking questions and answers on some tips, how to get through the travel industry especially as it's going to be going on. There's a lot of pent up demand for that.
I imagine if not this summer, the next summer is going to be the most massive travel summer that anyone can remember.
Right. The gas prices will be crazy, but hey, that's another year. That's a year from now. You know what I mean?
We'll leave that out of it for now.
Yeah, right.
But as far as and then I see you got design. You got a design trends presentation going on up there. That's kind of cool. I mean, you've been locked in the house. How can you make it fresh again? And
Mary Scally, the owner of Simple Elegance, is going to be presenting that, and it's a lot of what's the new trends. He's also a staging expert, and she'll be doing a staging presentation too. And there's all kinds of people in the flipping houses now and so on, or just selling your own house. And staging is a big way to get your house value for your house and get it sold quickly.
Yeah, I think I saw that, and then also I saw something here about a way you can find stylish decor stuff at great prices, which is a great idea.
Yes, Diane Cowan, who is the architecture and design writer for the Chronicle, and she's talked to many of these designers. What websites do they go to? So she'll have a lot of this in her presentation. What websites to go to, what the price points are, and so hey, hopefully, buy like a designer, but without being an interior designer. That's sort of the whole idea behind it. So it was a new idea she had, and I think it's going to be a great resource for people who want to come to the event.
Not that we have anything against interior designers, but make you stretch your dollars and stretching. As my mama said, you can only spend $1 once.
That's true. Very wisely.
And it's $5. Speaking of, 5 of them to get into the show.
Special admission. Hey, it's a different kind of year.
Yeah, I mean, because that's
free parking.
Yeah, significantly less than it usually is at your show. I mean, it's like
it's usually
half
at
price
least 10.
Yeah,
it's 10.
So
it is half price, right? So we're trying to make it. Hey, some people need it. Hey, the freeze has got a lot of people. Like Tom said, there's a lot of major remodeling going to be happening in this city.
It's the Lake
and
Houston.
We hope we can help people with it.
Right. It's the Lake Houston Home and Outdoor Living Show at the Humble Civic Center. So use your Google and find it. And we'll have some links. We'll have links at homeshowradio.com to help you out with that. Tony, thanks a lot for being with us today.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
And
Take care,
Tom?
Thanks, Tony. I'll see you in a weekend
soon.
or so.
I'll be parking you soon.
About the mask. I want everybody to know they're going to have to ask me away, because if I wear a mask and do a show, it sounds like doing a show. So I'm going to be maskless. So I will be the one very rare person. That's why I want everybody back, because I got to talk into the microphone. I don't want people to think I'm being disrespectful. I've got to take it off to do the show, or it'll sound terrible.
Gotcha. Makes sense.
But I'll be doing it there.
Yeah, and keep a distance. So that's good.
All right. We'll have a microphone.
See you guys.
People can ask me questions.
That's true.
That's true. Tony, thanks for stopping by. It was great seeing you.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
So that'll be fun. Get out there and
it'll
go
be
out
fun.
And do something.
And just let everybody know, I'll be in a uniform. I'll be looking like a tree, because my CO, my Lieutenant Svidenko, and my sergeant said, go do the show. Get your butt back here. We're doing some outdoor training for the whole weekend. And I'll be running out afterwards. But if they do want to ask me questions, Charlie, if you're going to have a mic set up, they can ask me during the show, and we'll work it into the show. It'll be a lot of fun, but I will have my mask off, because I don't know if people watch the news, and you and I are in the media. When they do their reporting, when they're doing their stand-up lives on the news and they keep the mask on,
it's so silly.
I can't understand anything they say.
I know.
And there's nobody there. Just take the mask off and talk into the mic. Then put it back on.
And the camera guy, if you know anything about the way they shoot that stuff, and you do, Tom, the camera guy's at least 6 feet away anyway.
Oh,
so
he's really far away. And it's just silly. We take it off to drink water when we're talking to people, talking to the microphone without the mask. Right. That's a little advice from Mosier Media and Tom Tynan to
and
all
Home
you
Show Radio
out there, okay?
Yeah, and these days, a lot of these reporters are what's called in the business a one-man band, where it's just the guy and a camera.
Setup.
They set up and then they stand in front of the camera, but they're still wearing a mask.
I know. I totally know, and I don't understand it.
It's like the people I see driving in cars by themselves with a mask on. I'm like, what are you?
They're trying to be politically correct, but sometimes you've got to get the story out. We want to hear you. Take your mask off. Political
correctness is not something that is in big supply around here. Hey, by the way, got a question here.
Good.
Perry wants to know, will there be a show in Conroe this year? There will be, Perry. That show's not going to be until May, though. So hang in there.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the May show, because it's next weekend. You're at the Humble Civic Center. Then
not this weekend. That's the weekend of the 21st. Yes.
Right, and then the following weekend, the 27th, we're at the
Berry Center.
That's the one.
That's right.
Yeah.
The Berry Center. That's closer to my house.
Yeah, there aren't professional stadiums in the state I grew up in as nice as the Berry Center. So
yeah, I know. My son played football on that field, and my tax money paid for that thing.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think
we were all really happy about that in the Cy-Fair district.
Yeah, thanks to Robin Hood, I think we all had a little hand in that one. So all right,
no kidding.
Let's get to the questions here. That's why people are watching, of course, not for our witty repartee.
Now, listen.
Here's one.
What do you got?
Here's one from Jim. He says, "Can you tell me about painting kitchen appliances, Tom, with stainless steel kits? Is it a good idea? And does it last? Does it look good? What say you?
If it's an appliance and you're going to paint it, I would say it's not going to look like it does in the showroom floor. It's like taking spray paint and painting your car. It'll still look a different color. Some of it might stick even better than others. It depends what you buy. Would I do it on an appliance? No. Would I try to touch up a little spot maybe, or do a little something? Maybe, depending what it is. If you scrub it down like you would, if you keep your appliances clean and you use products like 409 and Fantastic and stuff, I don't know how long the paint will last, but quite frankly, I don't think it's a good idea unless you're doing a restoration. Then you're going to go into like a powder coating system or something. If you want to go back into, you're taking a really old antique appliance, you want to go back to the pinks or the turquoises or the yellows, and you're really doing something spectacular, then you go to powder coating. But I don't know, unless it's temporary, I don't think it's going to do a real great job. You got to be careful, and I don't think you'll be as pleased as you think when it's done.
Yeah, I can't imagine that. I saw this demo the other night. You know, I was up far later than I should have been, and that's when they air these
No
things.
kidding, okay.
And there was this demo of this guy with this paint. And look, we're going to put a marble finish in it, and he's doing all these kind of things. And I'm thinking, how many of those did you screw up to make that one look that good? And if I buy that, how many am I going to go through? You know, so
Yeah, you have to think that way. And I know late night television. I really miss the Ron Popeil knife one because I used to
Amen.
watch that a lot. I even bought a set for my son just as a joke once because we used to watch it late at night when he couldn't sleep and he was about 10. But as far as that goes, be careful what you see on TV because it's usually too good to be true.
It's so
even,
true.
Even when we're on TV, we're kind of faking it. I don't look as good on TV as in real life, trust me. Wait, did that come out right? That didn't come out right.
No, I appreciate you being honest because we spend a lot of money on the visual effects to make him look
Oh
that
my God,
good.
your lights, just your lighting package alone. And then I have a green wall behind me. Then I have Chris, who is up on a ladder looking down through special lenses. Then you have the filter, because I really don't look like this at all. I look more like a pig man. So it all comes out, and I look like this when it's all done.
Yeah, we thought about adding "Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain," but it didn't. That was taken. So
Yeah, and you know what they're all saying now, Charlie? God, that's what he looks like after all that. Okay.
So if you'd like to find out what he's talking about, come to the Humble Civic Center
home
this
show.
next weekend.
Yes.
All right. Next one comes to us from Robert
Yes.
in Sienna Plantation. He says, had a pipe break in my attic over the garage, and a section of about 8 by 10 feet of the ceiling drywall got wet but did not collapse. Do I need to replace it, or is it going to dry over time? Is it going to be okay, Tom?
It'll dry. Anything will dry. The water will eventually, evaporate out into the atmosphere, and it'll be gone, and you'll have dry sheetrock. The question is it solid? If it's solid and it didn't lose its shape, didn't lose its integrity, it's perfectly fine. Sheetrock gets wet quite a bit. If it dries out, when it starts to get soft and crumbly, and the paper starts peeling off because it stayed wet too long, and that usually takes quite a bit of time, then of course you'd have to replace it. But if it's all hard to touch, the paper's on there, and you can't see anything wrong with it, then it probably isn't broke. Don't fix it.
So you would just let it be, and
Let it be.
it's a garage, for God's sake. So,
Yes, and it's a good song too.
and it's supposed to, yes, it is. It is, in
Yes,
fact.
okay.
It is. Took me a minute.
I could tell.
I'm like, okay, Charlie's been spending too much time at altitude in the last 2 weeks. All right.
I'm
So-
getting on a plane tomorrow.
Okay, can't wait. And remember,
Yes.
bring your camera because we're gonna fix it so it doesn't do that focus thing anymore.
Is it still doing it? Okay,
Yeah.
I'll bring my camera.
Yeah, we're gonna have it. I brought my ball peen hammer in. We're gonna fix it
I'm
over
trying
right over
to stay real still.
here. Okay. Joni is in the Acres Home area here in Houston. She writes, "We are filling in our sunken den with concrete. It's about 5.5-inch drop." And she wants to know, how long does the concrete need to dry? I heard from 1 to 30 days, but my contractor says he wants to lay the floor after a week. Yikes. Would that be your advice, Tom?
Yeah, that's more than enough. If it's hard to touch, go ahead and lay the floor. This is not a structural pour. It's not a bridge. It's not a monorail. It's not a baseball stadium. But I can give you some things to make people feel more comfortable. First off, it doesn't dry. It will dry to the touch probably overnight. It cures. There's a process it goes through for a long period of time, and the water is what accelerates, or actually it's it's accelerator. It starts the curing process, and the water, you want it to stay in there a little while, but it doesn't stay soupy like when it's poured. But the first 7 days, it reaches 75% of its full strength. Then within 28 days, it reaches 100% of the strength that it was designed to reach, say 3,000 PSI, 3,500 PSI. So you have that 28-day, but you don't have to wait till then. On a home, when you start to frame a home, you can start framing a home 3 days after the pour, because you're not putting any real load on it. And by the time the home is framed, you're already past 75%. And by the time it's finished, you're way past 100%. And over time, concrete actually continues to cure past its prime, little by little, very small, but it keeps getting stronger until there's a point where it's so tiny it's almost immeasurable. But that's what you're looking at as a cure process. So 3 days, lay the floor, nobody cares. You're just walking on it. You don't weigh that much.
Well, we're assuming. But
you have to weigh as much as a bridge, okay? Not just a heavy person. It's fine.
There you go.
3 days.
That's right. Yeah, and it's the same thing. The other similar question to that is when people want to refinish. Sandy had asked me about the idea of doing stained concrete in one room of our house. I was like, I remember you saying if you're going to do stained concrete, you have to start there. You can't go and take an old floor and make it, or it's much harder to do that. Is that right?
It's harder because when you strip concrete, I'd say strip it. When you take the floor covering off concrete, it could be old tile, it could be old wood, it could be carpet. You're going to find all kinds of cracks, just shrinkage cracks. It's not a cracked foundation. It's just hairline cracks. You're going to find paint overspray from when they built the house, which you're not going to get out. You're going to find a lot of discoloration from things that have spilled, gone through the carpet, stained the coloring. Like a product as simple as, say, a Big Red. Remember the sodas called Big Red? They'll leave a mark in there that you'll never get out. It'll look like you killed somebody on your floor when you spill that stuff. And imagine what it does to your stomach for that matter.
Yeah, no kidding.
But so if you stain it with a stain, it's not going to have that beautiful stain look. Mm-hmm. When I'm building a home, and I haven't done one in a long time with stained concrete because that was a fad that was happening around the end of the 90s. We used to have to protect it, and we had a special finish we put on there. Then as they framed it and everything, we kept it covered with a real heavy cardboard paper and kept it covered all through the process, had to recover it as it got worn, the covering got worn, and then the staining happened at the end. So it raised the cost of the project to keep that concrete without getting any sheetrock overflow on there. You know what else happens? The glue and the purple primer from the piping falls on there and leaves terrible stains. You get all these stains nobody ever thinks about because you usually cover it with a finished floor. So that's what you got to find out what it looks like and then decide if you're actually going to stain it.
Fair enough. Jack, I see your question. We're going to get you in just a second. If you have questions, you want to get them on with us, all you can, go ahead and put them in the comment section down there like Jack has, and we're going to get to his question here in a second because it's eerily similar to another one we have I've got teed up here in a minute. Here's one from Quincy in Cyprus. He says, I need a new roof. The roofing company is offering many types of roof with 5-star warranties, whatever that means. What do I need here in Cyprus? Tom?
Well, I think any roof you buy today is going to be a good roof to last if you have a good roofer. They're going to have different warranty packages, which means some roofing materials they assume is going to last longer through their testing. It's proven it'll last longer. It'll hold up against different types of climate problems. Let's say hail. You'll have a hail proof, like a class 4A, I do believe, is more hail proof than a one that doesn't have that rating. And so it's really going to be up to you and your pocketbook and the warranty you want. Some people, a 5-star, super expensive roof on a very small weekend home or something, it might not matter to you. So you have to choose which one's best for you. If you called our roofer Ideal Roofing and they're a GAF Master Elite roofing contractor, they would sit with you and they would go over the different warranties. Does a lifetime warranty to you on a house that you're just putting a roof on to sell matter to you? Probably not. Does it really matter to the person buying it? It might not even transfer, so it might be something you don't want to invest in. So sit down and think what's best for you, but all the roofs today are going to last 20 plus years if they're put on right. I don't know of a roof that wouldn't easily last 2 decades. And who knows if you're even going to own the home, or if you even, maybe you're planning on tearing it down in 15 years or doing something else with it. So think about the situation, not just what you're getting, but how it's going to fit for what you want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was looking here at the name of this person who's doing the design trends here at the Lake Houston Home and Outdoor Living Show next weekend.
Yes.
And Mary Scally is her name. I'm going to have her come look for you and discuss with you that flamingo you have hanging on the wall now. That wasn't there last week. At least I don't remember seeing it. Has that been there all along?
My son gave me that for Christmas a year and a half ago. There's 4 of them. Because he said, Dad, you're eventually going to get another beach house. And I saw these and I thought of the old beach house I brought my son up in. And
right.
Yes, it is a pink flamingo collection that he found somewhere in California where he works. Okay. And so that's behind me, and it's been there the whole time. Maybe we have a different angle today. Maybe the camera really does need to be fixed. I don't know.
Well, maybe that's the question. It's a diagnostic question. I'm making sure is that really there?
Maybe it's going to a wider. Maybe that's the problem.
What did they put in here?
No, you know what, Charlie? Maybe it's going to a wider angle, and I don't know it. You have to set it.
Yeah, or maybe you pointed it different, or who knows? Who knows?
I don't think so. I'm sitting right here like I always do.
Anyone who's watched this program for any period of time knows it's a precision operation.
Yeah, it is. This is a little place I have in Brownsville. I went to work today. I came home, and now we're doing this.
Yeah, because Tom teaches. He's a school marm down there. And
I'm not a teacher. I'm a director. I have instructors that work for me.
That's
right.
Make
that very clear.
Right. Tom does not. With these? No, Tom doesn't do that. He's got. You're teaching what? I know scaffolding is one of the programs.
Let people know that I run and I create and run training programs for community colleges. I happen to be working with Texas Southmost College in Brownsville right now. We train, and this is really important, and you see this on the news stations. You see it happening across the country. I think I was one of the leaders in it. I'd like to just pat myself. But
Don't
we
hurt
train
yourself now.
Welders, we train scaffolding builders, industrial insulators, plumbers, electricians, pipe fitters. Those are the kind of programs I put together for people, and I work in the state of Texas. Houston is my home. And like tomorrow, I'll be getting on a plane going back to Houston because it's spring break, and I get a whole week paid off. No, a whole week of pay and do nothing except have fun next week and go to a home show and play in the woods and see Charlie on Tuesday to get my new lights and get my camera fixed. We got lots of stuff we're going to do next week in Houston.
You get more time off than that if you're in the California Teachers Union. They got a much better deal out there. So
I was essential. I never stopped working. My guys and I, we kept working. There's no reason to sit home and watch TV. We got America to put back to work, and we're doing it.
You do HVAC too, right? You're teaching HVAC.
Not yet, right? No, but that's a new one they're starting to throw at me. Refrigeration and HVAC. We're training companies. We just picked up one from Minnesota are coming down here. We're training all their roofing specialists that they work all over the country. So we're starting to get known across the country. And I've only been here about a year and a half now, so I'm pretty proud of that. And Brand Safeway with the scaffolding, industrial insulators, and coating, we're training all their workers. And they're out of Georgia, and they're all over the country too. So I'm pretty proud of what we're doing down here. And I like to brag about it. Maybe it's too much, you tell me sometimes, but I'm going to stop now. But I do love to brag about what we're doing.
We're going to get back to the home
improvement. We're right next to Padre Island where spring break's going on now, but that's where the pink flamingos are going with me. We're going to get a little place so I can wake up on the beach instead of on Alton Glore in the middle of Brownsville.
We'll get back to the home improvement segment of our show now.
Let's do that.
All right.
Proud of it. Go ahead.
Well, I'm proud of you, Tom. What you're doing, that's heroes work that you're doing there and helping people because I was in Charlotte. I remember the last week was Charlotte, and we were talking.
North Carolina.
And got a client there, and we were talking about his training And he's got a guy who started there and within a year and a half was making over six figures doing HVAC, working 5 days a week.
Well, let me tell you, I put 7 people through a 2-week program. I'm going to brag a little more, and then we'll stop. And they were sent to Pennsylvania from Brownsville, Texas, for 6 weeks of work. And they're making the equivalent this year of just in 6 weeks, not the full amount, but if they work the whole year, they're going to work off and on for about 6 months, $117,000 a year plus $720 a week with per diem. They also have a 401k, full health insurance, and they get to come home every few weeks, spend time with their family, then head back out. It's with the brand Safeway people. And the money is out there and the work is out there, trust me. But you need to train them. And your guy in North Carolina knows that too. If they're not trained, it doesn't do any good.
Yeah, in
just
fact,
the job is there.
Yeah, in fact, I've got a client in Raleigh-Durham who is a different guy, and he's actually started a school and has a scholarship program where he's bringing guys in and training them. And some of them stay and work for him, some go other places. But there's a need. And I'll tell you what, you think there's a demand for plumbers right now, and especially in the Texas area? So, anyway.
Hey, we have a plumber program. I was walking out of CVS the other day. One of my plumbing students from last year stopped me. He was in a car with his wife. I was walking across the parking lot. He said, "Hey, Tom, you remember me?" I said, "Yeah, I do." Javier was his name. He goes, "I just got a full-time job as in a plumber now." Guess what? It was right after the freeze, and his wife was smiling, and he was going to work on that Monday, and he was one happy guy because he is now going to be employed as a licensed plumber, and he's got a whole world ahead of him of good stuff for him and his family.
We get back to home improvements now.
Yeah, well, you keep saying that, and you start up again.
I know,
So
but I mean, it's like... Next
well,
question.
Charlie, it's important that they all know we're part of more than just answering questions.
We're more than just
a
we're more than a pretty face gobbling up your bandwidth here on the internet.
We're back in the back of the bus doing good stuff. Go ahead.
Wait a minute. I don't want to hold on. I don't like that visual. All right. Mike,
good stuff, not
in
weird
Humble says, "I'm wondering why building materials are tripling in price. Last year, a 2x4x8 was $2.50. Now they're $6. Last year, a sheet of half-inch OSB was $9.50. Now it's almost $30. Do you think materials are coming down, or will it be coming? And by the way, Jack also wrote in a question about that. He wants to know when can we expect these prices to go down. He says, "I have a rental property that needs a lot of it, and the insurance company rejected my claim." What's the deal, Tom? I mean, why are things sneaking? Go away! I told you go away. I turned that off. Go away. I'll fix him.
I can't tell him why they rejected his claim.
Yeah.
There's going to be more of a legal thing there. If it was a legitimate claim, it wouldn't matter what the construction prices were. He'd still get his claim taken care of. The insurance industry, and many people working with them here in the Houston area, we haven't had any real complaints. This was a disaster with the cold weather. There's a lot of remodeling done. But will the prices go down? No. People don't relate things to one another. And one of the things that happened was the election happened. Gas prices went up. When gas prices go up, all production costs go up tremendously, because it's not just a truck that hauls the lumber to Lowe's. It has to be milled. It has to be hauled all over the place. We have electric costs going in on all of this. It's the energy costs that everybody is anticipating is going to rise like crazy. And it's starting to happen and catch up with them right now. You're not going to see it go down unless energy prices and certain things like labor costs are going up. If you raise minimum wage to a certain level, then the other costs for plumbers and electricians and stuff, who at $15 an hour, for instance, we'll use that as a point to talk about because it's in the news. That's really good pay for people going into the construction industry. If minimum wage for other jobs go to 15, then the wages for those jobs will go up to 22 to 25. So everything is going to escalate and stair step. And Charlie, as a businessman, you're going to see that happen too. Then you add on top things like the freeze we had. We had all the hurricanes last year through Louisiana and areas like that. And the building boom, believe it or not. This is what people don't realize with COVID. We had all these people move from New York, from California, from other states, and I'm not getting political, I'm just talking about the reality of it, and they're moving to other states like Texas, Florida, and many South Dakota. Well, that means more houses, more roads, more stuff has to be built in the states they're moving to. It doesn't matter that there's an abundance of housing, say, in New York City. Nobody cares. They care about where they're going. And so that makes the construction industry go crazy. And Charlie, you see it with your advertisers, and you can just see how it's a snowball that is not going to stop for probably 2 decades. And then the lack of, and we're going back to what we were talking about, the lack of skilled laborers and the need for them right now is also raising the price, because even when we talk to some of the companies we work with, they hire experienced people from other companies and offer more money per hour, which goes to the consumer so they can get the quality people. You can't train people on a job. You can do a little bit, but you have to train them, then start working them like an apprenticeship program on a job. They have to come in with skills, and you don't get those people. And people say, well, why don't you train them on a job? Real quick thought. If you're spending $1,000 or $1 million on a repair or a brand new home, and the builder or the contractor said, yeah, I've got these trainees from a high school that they're going to do all the work on your house, you're going to say, I don't want those people. I want experienced plumbers. You send those somewhere else. That's why we can't train on jobs. That's why we have to train away from the job. And all that stuff is making everything go up in price.
Well, I certainly think we covered that.
Well, we need to.
No, I mean,
people, they think it's one little, gas price went up. No, it's everything involved. Plastics.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. When did those
paint coatings come from oil?
When did those gas prices start going up? I'm trying to remember when.
I'm not going down that road. I'm not going down that road, but where I am right now, it's 50 cents more today than it was 8 weeks ago. 50 cents in 8 weeks.
8 weeks. Let's see. 8 weeks ago, that was.
I'm not going down that road. No,
20th
I just want everybody to be happy and get along.
Around the 20th of January, wasn't that? Okay.
All right. Let you and the pundits do that.
I'm not. I know. I love everybody. You have questions. We're gonna land this plane here because we're starting to fly into some turbulence.
Not on my side.
You got a question? We'd love to answer your questions, because here's the deal: if you go to homeshowradio.com and click on that blue Ask Tom button, you will be availed this page, whereupon you can send us your question in writing. You can send it as a video, and we will answer it. Tom posts these answer videos every day at homeshowradio.com. We push them out to Facebook and our YouTube channel. There's hundreds and thousands of answers from Tom on our YouTube channel, and we can answer them there, or we'll answer them here on the show. We'll get to them, or even on early edition Sunday morning when I get up, and both the listeners at that hour enjoy what we put forth in that segment of the show. So, but Tom reigns supreme the rest of the weekend, don't you?
I'm looking forward to this weekend. I'm going to be in Houston. I'm going to be doing the show from my home, which is my house that I've lived in for 30 years. And my wife and I are going to have barbecues and stuff and have some good times this weekend. And I'm going to be on the air at 9 to noon on Saturday, 8 to 11 on Sunday. Charlie, you're joining me on Sunday for a half an hour. And let's not forget the guy who's most important this weekend, because it's springtime, and that's right, it's green. And that's Danny Milliken. We need Danny more than ever right now for our fruit trees, our lawns, all his nurseries all over Houston. We need them to be fully stocked, and we need to go see these people and ask them questions. And he's on from 7 to 9 on Saturday. And I noticed his show is very popular since we've had this cold weather leave. He is getting bombarded, and as far as radio hosts go, like Danny and I, we love it when you make those calls. It has really refreshed us because we're getting really loaded boards with lots and lots of calls. We were there to help you, and it doesn't cost you anything.
It's free. And same thing with the stuff on the website. And they've got, the Garden Pros have another website with lots more stuff on that as well. And we're on that site right now with the live, because when Danny does his show on Wednesdays, and we do this on Thursday, we cross the streams, even though I tell you not to do that in Ghostbusters, and we send it out on both of yeah. Maybe get Stay Puft to sponsor this. Okay. All right. Well, that's it for this
And
week.
I hate marshmallows, so
Thank
there
you.
goes that one.
Yeah, obscure movie reference for anybody who's paying attention. So anyway, hey, thanks for watching us this week. We'll be back in you next Thursday with another Ask Tom.
Got a question? Ask Tom on Home Show Radio. Home Show Radio. Free advice from a pro who knows. Home Show Radio. Home Show